because when you remove the quarterback and you look at the teams around the league, you would say the Cowboys are number 4 offense at worst. Maybe better. $100 million man Amari Cooper, the guy a lot of people thought was the number 1 rookie wide receiver, or going to be the number 1 rookie wide receiver in CeeDee Lamb. Highest paid running back in NFL history. Michael Gallup coming off a breakout year. Excellent offensive line. Everything you need to be an elite offense, as long as you have adequate, if not excellent, quarterback play. So it's pressurized for Dak, and it's pressurized for Mike McCarthy. Mike McCarthy ain't Mike Zimmer now. He wasn't brought in because he's a defensive mastermind. He was brought in because he's supposed to help the offense go to the next level and the team go to the next level after they were kind of stuck in neutral with Jason Garrett. So for their coach and their quarterback, these types of offensive expectations are very pressurized, Brian Westbrook.
You know, Nick, I think this ranking is misguided. How are they the number 4th ranked offense when they were the number 1 offense all season long last year? And I think it's just as misguided as the Cowboys ownership and Brad Stephen Jones not giving their quarterback, their franchise player, the face of their franchise, a contract is just as misguided as that. Think about this. We talk about the Saints, the Ravens, and the Chiefs are better than them offensively. I think the Chiefs definitely are better than them offensively. The last time the Ravens played, their offense did not look very good. We also understand that it's a copycat league. And the Saints, that means that Drew Brees is going to get another 5-game vacation in the middle of the season. Can Drew Brees play 16 games and have the same type of velocity on the ball that he had at the beginning of the season? I don't know. We haven't seen it in the last couple of years. He's had breaks and time off in the middle of the season. And so when I look at this Dallas offense, they upgraded the wide receiver position. They upgraded the coach position. They have one of the best running backs in the league, and they have a quarterback that had coming off his career best season. Why wouldn't this offense be a little bit better than they were last year? Last year, they were the number 1 offense as far as yards per game in football.
I went with Packers-esque, Jenna, because like one of Nick's sweatsuits, McCarthy's very comfortable in having a high-powered offense. In his time with the Packers, Saints, Patriots, Chargers, and the Packers were 1 of 4 teams with 25 points per game and 350 yards. So, like Nick's sweatsuits, he's very comfortable having a high-powered offense.
Well, we know that these rankings aren't an exact science, so nor are Nick's outfits. Former scout and Pro Football Hall of Famer Gil Brandt was asked to rank the 8 division winners from last season according to their vulnerability heading into this year. Vulnerability. So how about this? Aaron Rodgers and the Packers came in as the most vulnerable. As a famous philosopher once said, that ain't great. But that famous philosopher also said, oh, people be lying. So I don't really know anymore. Nick, realistic expectations for the Packers this season are blank. I'm revving you up.
Oh, Jenna, I did not even think about that part of this. Because with respect to the Hall of Famer Gil Brandt, you know what applies to him in these erroneous rankings?
Oh, no.
Old people be lying.
I do.
I mean, who's division winners more yeah, thank you, Jen. I didn't even think of that. Division winners more vulnerable than the Packers. How about the Eagles, who we just talked about how good the Cowboys could be? How about the Texans, who we know what mayhem their offseason has been, trading away their second best player. Those are just the first 2 that come to mind. And one could argue that if everyone's right and I'm wrong about Brady and the Bucs, the Saints are vulnerable as well. By the way, the division winner in the West, the Niners, their GM and coach have been flirting with a different quarterback all offseason. Listen, the realistic expectations for the Packers in 2020 are division champs. To repeat as division champs for the first time since 2014, if I remember correctly. They won in 26. Yeah, first time since 2014, they haven't repeated as division champs. What are we scared of in the NFC North? I'm just curious. Like the Lions coming off that amazing 3.5-win season they had. The Bears, their big move was trading for Nick Foles right after he turned back into Nick Foles. Or the Vikings, who I think we know that they are a good but not great team. I don't know that the Packers are a Super Bowl favorite, but they absolutely should be division champs. So that's the realistic expectations with respect to the Hall of Famer Gil Brandt, who is proving America's newest catchphrase correct. Old people be lying.
Oh, no.
I love that catchphrase, old people be lying. I tell my parents that all the time. Old people be lying. But I'll say this. I think realistic expectations for the Packers this season is 10-6, 11-5, to be honest with you. I would really err to the side of 10-6. I think they have tough road games. You have to play the Saints, the Bucs, the Texans, the Colts, and the 49ers on the road. And I think in their division, the Vikings will present a bit of an issue for them. And I think they had 2 tough games last season against the Lions. And I think both of those games were decided by 3 points or less. And so I still think in the division they'll be 4-2. But I think they'll have a tough road record. And with that, it'll be tough for them to get more than 10 wins.
Okay, America. I know we're talking to America directly now. Old people be lying is not America's favorite new catchphrase. Nick calls himself a truth teller, and that is an outright, bold-faced lie. It is a nascent phrase that he's trying to push, and it's starting to take root. Jenna said it. Now Brian likes it, so it's been a disaster. I'm trying to tamp this thing down. I went on the Packers question. I was just happy that the Patriots weren't number 1. We came in number 4, so I'm adding Gil Brandt to the Jarrett Stidham fan club. Old people are not lying. It is a true statement, so thank you, Gil.
I'm sorry that I brought it up. I obviously started something. I will take it back.
Thank you.
Packers feel like they could be 8-8 and 10-6. I feel like it can go both ways with that team. All right, let's talk about the Eagles, your former team, Brian. They drafted 3 wide receivers, including first-rounder Jalen Reagor, and added Marquise Goodwin this offseason, which has Carson Wentz feeling, quote, extremely pumped. Nick, the talent and the speed and the talent around Wentz this season will be blank.
I think it's overrated. I feel like we've done this with Philly ever since they won the Super Bowl. We've looked at their roster and we've said, oh, my God. Every year we've done it. Oh, my God, look at all this talent. And then I actually look at the names and I say, okay, what Philly has been great at, what Howie Roseman's been excellent at, is not having massive gaps in his roster where you have replacement-level players or fringe NFL guys as starters. What I don't think he's been great at is accumulating elite playmakers and elite talent. The Philly last year, what was the narrative? That is the most talented roster in all the NFL. And all that talent got them what exactly? They limped into the postseason because they were in the worst division in football. And by the way, I think a lot of Philly fans feel the way that our star statistician Dustin Waite feels about their wide receiver draft pick. Of all the wide receivers we could have taken, we took him of 600 yards his final year in college, and now trying to convince themselves because of bad quarterback play, as opposed to maybe Howie Roseman, for as great as he is, hasn't shown an acuity to draft wide receivers, and we've seen that throughout his tenure. So I think it's slightly overrated. I think Philly's a good, fine to good team. I don't think that they have these elite playmakers on the outside, Brian.
You know, Nick, I think that, when you look at Carson Wentz's season, it'll be questionable, just as questionable as it was to take Jalen Reagor in the first round when Justin Jefferson was still on the board, just as questionable as it was to take Jalen Hurts with the 53rd pick when you had an opportunity to pick other players at there that can help your quarterback. Here's the thing. I like Miles Sanders. I like his ability to get inside, outside, run the football very well. I like Zach Ertz, and I like Dallas Goedert. I like that offensively. But here's the big question I have. Deshaun Jackson at 33, coming off of surgery, can he be productive? Alshon Jeffrey at 30, coming off of surgery, can he be productive? And then Marquise Goodwin, you bring him in, and he's a really good player, but he's coming off 2 years of injury. And this guy back here, he loves the Eagles too.
Who's that, Ryan?
He has a lot of questions about their offense. What is their offense going to do? It remains to be seen. It is questionable.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, that's a cutie. I love it. I love it.
This guy came in. You guys started talking about the Eagles, and we had to bring the little guy in. Who's your favorite team? The Eagles?
Yes.
Look at that face.
Yes.
That's awesome.
go.
Try
Ken.
to top that,
I love it.
Wilds. What's your answer?
I know. Now I'm gonna try to give a take about athleticism. I gotta get my kid. Billy, come down. We're having a cute contest on the show. Brian's winning by a large margin. I went with field day, Jenna, because I asked Dusty, our researcher, I said, give me the most crazy, that the Eagles had a great draft, and he gave me the athleticism score, that the Eagles won in athleticism, which they take all the combines and scores and they try to mix them up into a metric. And here's why I said field day. It reminds me of when you're in field day in middle school and you look around like, wow, we've got all the best athletes. And then you lose in the egg toss. I don't know if the athleticism score matters, but it's a nice graphic to put up. So I'm going field day. Back to Brian's family. That's going to be the ratings. Oh, Brian!
Where's your little guy, Brian?
That's how homeschool goes. Sometimes they're in the office studying. Sometimes they're just running around.
All right, we're going to take a break. Wild's field day was single-handedly the greatest experience of my life every year. It's how I became so athletic. I killed the egg toss.
Jenna got 11 blue ribbons at 4th grade field day. Let me tell you about it. It was just
something.
like those
It
Pro
meant
Bowls,
something.
Brian Westbrook.